So this book I'm reading is called Hunting Evil by Guy Walters, and the book it's mainly of course you can probably see by the cover it's about Nazi Germany, the Third Reich, and Hitler's rule, and I like this book a lot because it was once number one. I'm really into World War II and Hitler, Nazis, the USA at that point, the British at that point, Japan at that point, Russia at that point, Italy at that point, even Africa, and all of Europe at that point. I find it a very big part of our history, so I find it it's just something very interesting I like to look at. And kind of like the last book I talked about, which was about the Packers, this book, once again, every chapter, it's a new story. It talks about something else. So it can go anywhere from one chapter talking about Hitler's bunker to the doctors of Nazi Germany and their nasty experiments and stuff like that. And it also has a few pictures which are kind of gory and stuff like that, but it's some things you don't really find on the internet very much. It's not classified, of course, but it's just very interesting historical pictures and stuff like that. And I don't know. I like the book because it wasn't like a story about a certain person or a certain event. Like I said before, it's a lot of different things, so it gets you a kind of big overview of everything and helps you understand a bit more. One of my favorite chapters in this book was a chapter called "To the Uttermost Ends of the Earth." I'm gonna read you a little part of it. It's about Joseph Mengele, the Nazi doctor who was like notoriously known for like really bad experiments and stuff like that. I'm just gonna read you a little like page. Ironically, the Allies were to catch some of the big fish, but they threw them back, believing them to be too small to fry. In Schauenstein camp, Joseph Memling, the name Joseph Mengele had now adopted, was thankful that he did not have a blood group tattooed on his left upper arm. That's what the Nazis had on the left upper arm. They'd tattoo to show you were loyal to Hitler, like the blood of Germany was inside you. Since such marks were carried by most SS men who were loyal to Hitler, that's why they had them, they became an easy method for the Allies to identify those who had joined the ranks of the supposed Nazi elite. Luckily for him, Mengele had refused a tattoo, saying it was medically superfluous. Although he was unlikely to be identified, Mengele grew increasingly anxious. The Americans then took us from one camp to another, he recalled, in which the very small rations became even smaller and hopelessness grew. At the end of July 1945, Mengele and his friend Dr. Kahler were moved to Helmbrechts camp, some 100 miles north of Nuremberg. It was here that Mengele had another piece of luck. He was released after just 1 week. Without an SS tattoo and with a convincing identity as an army doctor, the Americans had no reason to suspect the 34-year-old was not just another German officer who wanted to go home. Even if Mengele had used his real name, it is likely he would have still been released. The absence of any Crowcast list in the camp would have made the name Mengele no more significant than Memling. Besides, Mengele was not the only German being released from Helmbrechts. That July, some 2,000 were discharged from the camp, and Allies were simply unable to cope with the millions that they had captured. To avoid starving their prisoners, they had to set free hundreds of thousands. Had Crowcast been better organized, Mengele would not have been released. His name did appear on the July list that was printed back in England. So, I don't know. I find that crazy to believe the Americans just let him go, because in this book, it kind of scams over it, but I've read more in depth things about him. I mean, he sewed twins together, like ripped open their backs and sewed them together to see if they could, whatever, I don't even know, like be a functional human. And he did blood tests and chemical tests and bacterial tests on random patients, and it's disgusting and horrible, but at the same time, I do like to read about it, because if you inform yourself, in my opinion, about horrible things like that, you're you're less likely to agree with or commit those in the near future, not just for yourself, but all of humanity more as. And I don't know. I thought it was a very good part of the book, and there's a lot of other really good parts. It talks about anywhere from Mengele to Hitler to one of my other favorite parts is when it talks about Skorinsky, which was one of Hitler's top people, who was like one of the top commanders of one of the top SS squads. So he was very loyal, loving to Hitler, and I don't know. I think this book would be good for anybody who likes history, who likes Holocaust information, who likes World War II information, who likes Hitler information, who likes 1950s, like mid 1900s. Anybody who likes that kind of stuff, this would definitely be a good book for them. And yeah, Nazi Hunters or Hunting Evil by Guy Walters. Good book.